It's possible to stop worrying about incontinence with the Pelfit Pelvic Floor Muscle Exerciser. The Pelfit can improve pelvic floor control and help women restore confidence. Lightweight, easy to carry, with a simple LCD display, the Pelfit can improve muscle tone to eliminate embarrassment and offer greater freedom.
Pelvic floor problems in women at the moment are at absolute epidemic proportions. We've got 9.6 million women who are suffering here in the UK. A lot of these women suffer in silence because it is such a taboo subject. They won't go to their doctors. They suffer for a number of years. I think one statistic was they wait up to about 4 years before they actually go to a GP and say, hey, by the way, I do have a bit of a problem.
I think actually, to me, continence is probably the last taboo. So I hope that I'm quite an approachable GP, but I think it's the one subject that people have that rather stiff upper British lip about and they don't talk about it. And it's the topic that is always mentioned when the hand is on the door handle, just leaving. Oh, and actually there is another thing. Or a subject which if I asked directly, people will then say, well, actually, yes, but it's not something that women generally feel that they're comfortable talking about. And that's a shame because it's such a common problem and one that's often so easily cured, and yet people suffer in silence for far too long.
I think a lot of the time women seem to think that it's just a normal part of ageing and that, oh well, you know, I've had children, or oh, I've put a bit of weight on, or I'm getting a bit older, but it's not okay. If any woman says to me that she suffers from pelvic floor weakness, say in the instance of stress incontinence, if she leaks, I would say go to your doctor and start to do something really, really constructive about your pelvic floor.
Pelvic floor problems are incredibly common. It's estimated that there are around 9.6 million women in the UK. That's 1 in 3 women in the UK suffering with incontinence. And do you know what? I can almost bet my home on the fact that that's a gross underestimate, because those are just the people that we know about. We know that around 45% of women who have children, for example, will have some degree of incontinence for a period of time. And it's incredibly easy to treat in the vast majority of cases with simple pelvic floor exercises. The problem is most women don't persevere for long enough or don't really know how to do them properly. The pelvic floor is actually a group of muscles and they act as a kind of sling and they hold all the pelvic organs in place. They guide the baby during childbirth and they actually help us have a good healthy sex life. They control our bladder and our bowels, so when they stop working we run into trouble.
As we get older, if you've had children, if you've put weight on, if you smoke, if you have constipation, all of these things can slowly make that pelvic floor weaker and weaker. So the muscle no longer supports, it's not nice and bouncy, the muscle sags, and what happens is the bowel then can collapse into the side of the vagina, the bladder can collapse in as well. So, you know, if you're suffering from any weakness, if you find you sneeze and you leak urine, if you leak urine while you're running, while you're at the gym, please do something about it.
I think sadly many women don't realise that their pelvic floor muscles are like any other muscle actually, and if you don't exercise them then they lose tone and they become weaker. Now if you add into that the fact that we might have children and we get older and all our muscles get a bit weaker as we get older, then if you're not exercising them, the problem is that you could start to become incontinent and the problem can get steadily worse. The good news is that if you exercise them regularly you can prevent it in most cases.
So you've decided to do something about it. You need to be proactive about it. Maybe you've decided you want to lose weight. Maybe you've been to the doctor and the doctor says your first line of treatment is pelvic floor exercises. Okay, you can maybe try and do the exercises manually, which is the squeeze and pull up. Squeeze of the muscles, pull up. Except what happens is if your muscles are weak, you can't feel them to squeeze them. That's where something like the Pelfit comes in. It's a digital electronic exerciser. It's cordless. You set the controls and it automatically makes your muscles move. By making them move, it exercises them much more deeply and much stronger than you could do if you were just doing them manually. And so what do you need to do with the Pelfit? Well, it's really quite easy. You'll be using a 15-minute session in the morning and a 15-minute session in the evening. If you do that daily for 12 weeks, you will really rehabilitate your pelvic floor muscles, and that'll really help you get control back again so you can say goodbye to the panty pads. After your 12-week initial exercising, you really will feel increased sensation and less bladder weakness, and maybe less visits to the loo or getting up in the middle of the night. It's quick, it's easy, it's simple, it's not big. You literally just pop Pelfit in. These are the parts that conduct the pulse right against the floor of the pelvic floor muscles, and it will literally make your muscles work for you. We've got the Pelfit 100, quick and easy, 2 lots of 15-minute workouts a day, just for 12 weeks. And then we have the new latest super duper Pelfit 200. It's a little more space agey, screen automatically illuminates. It's a nice big screen so you can see exactly what you're doing. Absolutely easy to use. All the programs are preset for you. You just increase the intensity and it exercises your pelvic floor like never before. Absolutely brilliant, quick and easy. It's a simple home exercise system.
I often meet women who are religiously actually trying to do their pelvic floor exercises, and bless them, doing them wrong or not really knowing what they're trying to achieve. And I think that's where something like an electronic stimulator will come into place, because it actually helps you to realise what you're trying to get when you're doing your exercise regime.
The Pelfit Pelvic Floor Muscle Exerciser can be an effective solution to the problem of incontinence. You may experience the improvement in weeks, feel better and regain your freedom.